I'm enabling the live stream, so I will share the live stream, YouTube live stream link to our chat box soon. I think
Actually,
it will be available.
There is a link on top left corner.
I'll share the link.
Zoom.
This is the YouTube link for our meeting. And when we end up this meeting, the recording will be automatically uploaded to the YouTube playlist.
Okay, perfect. Finally, we got it.
Yeah.
I think every time we start the meeting, though, we need to use this account to enable the live stream.
I'm trying to grant the moderator access to other Zoom account and grant the YouTube channel manager to others. It takes time. So for this time, we make sure this workflow is working. And next, I will grant the access to other channel managers, like other notary maintainers.
Okay.
We don't want to bind to only one account.
Yeah, thanks, Raymond. That makes sense. Shui will not join. She's off today. Yeah, I think we have basically all the participants now. Let's kick off the meeting. I'm sharing my screen. Just a moment. Can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Okay, we have a few agendas today. So before we start, I want to say thank you to all the maintainers and the contributors. We finally made the RC4 release available. We have the announcement PR to be published after merge, and also we updated the quick start guide. So after those two PRs are merged, I will officially announce this release in Slack channel. Yeah, kudos to the team. Okay, then we go to the next item. Next one is from, I think from Pritesh, right?
Yeah, that's
I need your name, yeah.
But I will need Ian and Shiva for this discussion. I don't see them here. Probably we can punt it to next week. So basically, I think I have summarized this on the Slack channel. So we need more discussions to finalize what we want to do for 1.0. Like for RC4, okay. It was fine.
Okay. Do you think this need to be done in stable release, the 1.0
yes.
stable release, or stable release? Okay.
I mean, yes, we need to for sure do it for stable release.
Okay. Then I think we need to maybe, yeah, Shui is off today, so I will let him know that this one we need further discussion and align the solution, right? And yes, maybe we can, yeah.
There was already a Slack conversation going on this, but it was like, I thought it was better. It would be better to do it over the call. So yeah, let me ping on it. I will ping again on Slack. I think I might have added the wrong link there. I will update the link.
Wrong.
Yeah, I will update the link.
Okay. You will update the link, and I will let Shui know that this one we need to discuss and finalize the solution.
So here is the correct link. I'm just sharing here, and I will update the link there also.
Okay, the Slack channel. Okay, yeah, I remember the message you sent. Okay, then this item we need to further discussion. So maybe once Shui has some comments, he can post it in Slack channel offline first. Then we will see if we need any ad hoc meeting for it. Okay, next one is to align the 1.0 scope. So given that we have RC4 released, then given 3 weeks. So the current target is before the middle of May to release 1.0. And I have prepared a scope in Hacker Markdown file, and which listed the mandatory items that we needed to do. So there could be some other optional items based on the resource and the time, but this Markdown file address all the mandatory ones. We need to include it in 1.0. So please take a look. Samuel, Wani, please take a look, and also other maintainers. Okay, you can offline comment, and I will make a summary. Just give you a quick glance. It's a very short list. Basically cover governance, security auditor issues, and some other issues related to user experience and also documents. So please take a look offline and comment. So it's better that by the middle of this week, we can finalize the scope so that we will know the focus on the stable release. Okay, any comments? Pritesh, Samuel, do you have any comments? Cody?
No,
Okay.
No comments. I will have a look at it. I just can't look at the screen right now. So yeah, I'll have a look at it later.
Okay, great. So we only have 3 weeks and giving some PR review lead time, and also the code freeze before the official release. So we couldn't have many issues included. We only needed to take care of the most important one, we think. Okay. Then I continue some other updates. I have created a contributing guide. So if you remember previously, we have copied the contributing guide and also governance document from the Notary repo to the .github repo. And the contributing guide is, at that time, it's mostly focused on the Docker community. So this time I update the contributing guide. So please take a look. And also there are some flows, especially related to how to contribute PRs. So that flow maybe for engineers, you are very familiar with it. Please take a look if anything is wrong or missing. And the next is about, you know that we have some, previously we tracked some issues using the discuss and the future milestone, and over the time, this milestone becomes very confusing. So I suggest that we can remove milestone, discuss, and the future. We only track using the milestone we want to release, we planned for the semantic version. And for some other issue, if we want to address for the feature, or we want to ask for some discuss, maybe we can use the labels. So this is also connected to the next item that I try to define some labels that we needed and we should follow for different kind of issues and releases. And we can also remove other useless labels. So currently, the milestone and the labels, they are mixed mixed with different kind of scenarios and different things. And over time, some are already should be deprecated. Okay, So if you okay, that I will start to remove milestone, discuss, and feature, and I will propose a list of labels that we can use and for different purpose.
Yeah, I think removing the milestone is fine. I'm just wondering, what are you going to replace it with? I can tell you the history of the discuss in future. I think some of those needs to be closed because I think we've addressed them. But the idea of discuss was when we were, I'm talking about June, July of last year. There were some items we wanted to make sure happen in the 1.0 release. And so we marked those items as discussed to see if they have to go in the 1.0 release. So I'm fine with you removing the labels, but what are you going to replace it with? Or are you going to put everything in the roadmap and then we can just pull items we need to bring back? Just trying to see what all items we need to discuss for any future releases.
Toddy, you have your hands raised.
I am a little bit confused. Are we removing the labels or the milestones? Because as a label, that still makes sense, but as a milestone, it doesn't, because what does milestone discuss means? So
Yeah,
maybe
it's sorry, it's currently, I think it's not labels, it's milestones. For example, you can see on the notation report, we have this feature discuss milestones. I mean, those two.
sorry, I cannot see the screen because the window disappeared somewhere. Give me a second. Oh, okay. Yeah, so Samir, I don't think that this makes sense as a milestone. We can create a query if we want to discuss that, but what does milestone discuss means?
I agree. I agree. I don't think so. We intended it as a milestone. We intended it as more as a label for us to discuss what goes in 1.0. So I think it's okay to remove with milestones. Sorry, I was confused between the two. So it's okay to remove them from
Okay.
milestones. But I think shouldn't we have a milestone beyond 1.0.0? And what if we do? What should we call it?
I believe we should have something like backlog, which my understanding, the future milestone was intended to do the backlog, but I'm not sure. So.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I agree with you there, Toddy. I think we see a future, very bright future for notary projects. I'm just thinking, how do we signal to the community that there's more to come beyond 1.0.0? Discuss does not make sense. We should remove it. I'm just looking at whether we call it future or roadmap, and we will iterate on it and we'll create a more refined milestone as we define it. But just to indicate to the community what's coming next.
I agree with that. So we should have a way to tell the community what's coming next. I don't know whether like a milestone is the right thing. Fortunately, yeah, I'm not too deep into the project management on GitHub, but I see your point, and we need a way to do that. So we should figure out how we can do that, whether it's with the milestone or yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, it makes sense. Wani?
Yeah, the discuss was there, Toddy, because, either we were not aligned in the community part of the feature, or there needed further discussion for those topics. So discuss that's the reason it was under discuss, because it is also not qualified for a backlog. I would say backlog is where you have a clear understanding and alignment after the discussions in the community, and then you can put it as a backlog, or future is that basically, right? But discuss is where we had some, there was no clarity. There were there was something that was missing in that. That's the reason it was classified as a discuss. But we need to go and check those stories. I think I and E, I think we did talk about this. We need to, I think, couple of months ago, I think somewhere in November, I and Pritesh did one round of cleaning the board, during which we kind of closed most of it and moved some of it to discuss, and then moved some of it to RC3, RC4, and 1.0 kind of, and some of them to future. So I think we can't do that in 1 hour of meeting, and we should probably, that's not good time utilization across all of them here, but we need to take it outside, and probably Thursdays, Toddy, and other days, sometime that he can also contribute to this, then we can work off, like I can be available during the night, and then we can do this exercise, and then we can come across what goes after 1.0. I think it's too soon to discuss and classify that.
Vani, I think the problem here is that discuss, we can have a label that we can actually query for things that we need to discuss, but we don't need milestone. So the milestone is the thing that I think he is proposing to remove. We should still have a way to identify issues that actually we need to discuss and align on before we move them to a milestone. But we should use the tags for that and not the milestones. That's I think.
Exactly. I agree with that. We can use the tags for that, but maybe future becomes backlog actually. But backlog is also not a milestone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Fiman, any comments?
I agree with this proposal, and that we should make the milestone very straightforward and clear, and do not use the this kind of future or discuss as the milestone name. And no comments from my side.
Okay. I think we do need to have something. I mean, for example, post 1.0, maybe. I mean, after we charge all the issues in the backlog, then we can plan our releases. This is also showing our roadmap, right? But we can try to use semantic versioning. So normally, if we introduce new features, we will step the minor version of the semantic versioning, right? For example, 1.1. So if we only planning bug fixing, we just need to increase this patch number, right? So we can charge all the issues and see the release tendency. For example, 2 months. Then in 2 months we will release both feature and the bugs. Then we can plan 1.1, 1.2, something like that. So that in the milestone, everyone will be clear what are going to be released, and also a very maybe a draft scope for feature release. But currently the problem is the feature and discuss cause some kind of confusion, and also over time some items they didn't have a very clear boundary whether it is feature, whether it is need to be discussed. So that's the reason I want to remove those two. And for the issues we want to triage, we want to do for the planning, we can use other labels. So that's related to the next item that I am going to define the label we are going to use, and I will refer to other popular community how they track the issue. So I will propose the labels so that we can use the label to do it. So if you agree, so I will first define the labels. Then we can think about some issues under discuss or feature, which label should be used for them. Then after that, I remove discuss and feature. Okay.
Those are not milestones, right, E? Those are
No.
not milestones. So
Yeah,
the tag
discuss.
can be anything, basically. You can call it as future, backlog, or, as said, future can be backlog because we know what it means. But the discuss is what has to be discussed. So that can have a tag as discuss, right? Because you don't know what the milestone is for those items, right?
Yeah, for discuss, I think we could just use this charge. We needed to charge, right?
Correct.
So we already have this one in the template, so we can use this one. So once there is a label with charge, we know that we need to charge to see whether we will plan it to release or we will close it with some reasons. Then we basically close the issue, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So the next thing I will do is I will try to define labels by reference to popular other open source community. Then if we agree that, I will try to see, discuss and feature issues to use the correct label. Then after that, I will remove feature and discuss milestone for all the repositories.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so after that, I think it will be very good for the managing the issues and the PRs. So once there's a new issue, we can use triage label, right, to triage whether we will plan release or not. If yes, then we can mark it as maybe, for example, upcoming release versioning, or we can put it as for example, feature label or some other label to indicate that we will plan release for it, but currently we don't know which release, which timeline it will fit in. Okay, so I will try to identify some labels for the purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, let me switch back to the meeting notes.
Yeah, sorry, I think you already discussed about the RC4 release. I think the quick start one, two of them have approved, and you need how many more approvals for that? Did we discuss about that? That if we get the approvals in the next 1 hour, then we should be able to announce it today?
Yeah, thanks. I think a quick start. I need one more maintainer from our side. Then it's ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Freeman.
Yeah, I just want to remind that Shui's approval is not valid as he is currently not a code owner of the website project. So you will see that the mark is not valid. So we still need one more approval from our website maintainers.
Okay.
Yeah. So for this one, I will take a look after this meeting. Actually, previously, I already gave some comments, and I think the female already addressed those comments. So I will take a look today after this meeting. There's no risk for quick start. For the backlog announcements, I addressed some comments from Freeman previously. So please, Wani Samuel, or other maintainers of this repo, please take a look. So if you are fine with it, then I can, we can merge it quickly after this meeting.
Yeah.
So let's target by end of this day, right? Your time, the Pacific time. By end of today, we have all this documents, quick start and announcements reviewed and merged, so I can officially announce it in the Slack channel.
Hey, sorry, jump
Okay.
in. I have a question. I have a question on that release announcement. I will look at it some more, but my question is about is it only notation and the two libraries that we are checking in, or are we doing something else as well? In the sense, did we change any of the specs for revocation?
Specs, yes, we have a spec PR, but that PR was not merged yet, I think.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, that one, yeah, this one, it was not merged yet. Some comments from Toddy. Yeah, maybe Toddy, you can take a look about this spec here. But currently, the current status that the spec, since this was not merged, so there's no spec release for this repo yet.
It's the modification on the existing spec, right, Pritesh? The majority of the spec was already there. Right?
That's correct. And we still have a discussion open. I mean, technically we can merge this and discuss that, but yes, it's a modification on the existing one.
Right.
Yeah, since Toddy request changes, so maybe Toddy, you can take a look on the spec.
Yeah, I will take a look. Do we have any deadline by when we want to have this? Sorry, I've been behind because I was out for 2 weeks, and but I can take a look in the next day or two and provide either comments or approval.
I think this will not block our RC4 announcement, and this is current fact that the spec was not merged yet. We can do a spec release later after this PR is merged. And also, I think for this repository, we have some, still have some referencing to the Notary V2, right? We needed to remove those reference. I did a PR to remove the reference, but it seems that in some scenarios, it's not that easy to just replace Notary V2 to Notary. So I did some work, and Shui has some comments, and I know some places it's not that appropriate. So hopefully maintainers can also take a look of this PR to give some suggestions on how we can handling this Notary V2 reference. I think after revocation spec was merged and we address at least some critical part for the Notary V2 reference, we can cut a new release for this repository. What do you think, Samuel, Vani?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm fine as well. I think I'm just trying to be very clear here. So we are just releasing notation CLI as part of this notation 1.0.0 and the two libraries. We are not releasing the spec, and we are not doing a system release announcement either. So just the notation 1.0.0 CLI is going along with the libraries.
It's for RC4. Just the CLI and the two libraries we will announce for the spec. We can do it later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Samir, maybe if we can target the release of the spec as part of the 1.0 release, the final release, that will be good. So we have the spec and the CLI, and we have also the security audit and the libraries as part of the official release of everything.
That sounds fair. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, that was my understanding the other day when we discussed it, because if you, I think last week we discussed about this, talking about we are going to give like 10 days to see what else has to be kind of stabilized, or what other UX or error messages we have to take care of for 1.0 and no new features, right?
Yeah, that's right, Wani. Since you didn't join early in this meeting, I asked a review for this 1.0 scope.
Yeah, I will send that by maybe tomorrow morning. I've gone through half. I have written comments, but I'll send you the remaining ones, and I'll send it to Pritesh and Samir as well. I have not had a chance today to discuss with Pritesh and Samir on that. Maybe tomorrow I should be able to do that and send it over to you.
Yeah, it's better that we can finalize this scope before middle of this week, so that we will know our focus and we will have a roughly cost estimation. It shouldn't be too much work. We only have 3 weeks planned for the 1.0 before middle of May. So we only address the critical issues, including security, governance, and also UX usability issues. Okay.
Right.
Let me check the comments.
Pritesh was asking for
I'm trying to
revocation, right?
Even
Pritesh?
revocation, and there is signature filtering, which is not there. I think 2 major items which I'm aware of is revocation and the signature filtering. On revocation, we do have OCSP, but not CRL. And then on signature filtering, we do append the data signature, but we don't use it. So these are 2 major missing features.
But this one are not included in 1.0, right? The CRL and also the signature filtering, these 2 features are not in 1.0 scope.
I agree with that, but like if I'm reading a spec, then I see a 1.0 which matches to 1.0, which means everything should be there. Or should we remove them from the spec? I don't know, how do we want to do it in 1.0?
I don't think there is any checklist like that it should be done, but I'm not sure either.
I think for the spec, the implementation could be not synchronized with the spec, right?
Yes, but then
so if we have so that means if we have some features, for example, signature filtering defined in 1.0, but it doesn't mean the implementation also implemented in 1.0, right?
Fair enough, but I think we should call out that what are missing and what we haven't implemented somewhere in the release notes or anywhere. Like we have been talking for a couple of times now that we need to call out what is missing in this release from the spec.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that should be part of the 1.0 release note, right?
Yeah.
In 1.0 release, so we will clarify what we have implemented per the notary spec, right? So what are not implemented, we will call it out.
Do we explicitly call out what is not implemented, or do we explicitly call out what is implemented until 1.0?
I would say what's not implemented also. Then if we can add both, then it's fine, but at least we should call out what is not there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 1.0 is a huge milestone. So definitely in that release announcement, we will list all the features in 1.0, and of course we can call out the difference with the spec. Yeah, so as a summary, let's do that in 1.0 announcement. But before that, as I mentioned, let me switch back to this spec repository. So I think revocation spec, we just have some minor effort, but for remove Notary V2 reference, as I mentioned, in some scenarios, it's not that easy, just to replace Notary V2 with Notary or notation. So please take a look. There are many files impacted. So I addressed the 10 files, and also we missing requirements markdown file and also README markdown file. And also since this one is currently modified by the revocation PR, so I didn't spend time on it. So in total, we have around 13 files. We need to take a look. It's not a minor effort. So hopefully we can start to review it this week and find a way out to how we can remove the reference, or we'll use some other some other wording, some other way to polish the text. Okay, I think after that, we once we finalize how we can handle the previous Notary V2 reference, then we will have a good shape for the 1.0 release. And then later in the announcement, we can call out which part are not implemented. Otherwise, when people check the spec, it will cause confusing, right? Since we still have this Notary V2 in 1.0 spec, that is not a good impression. Okay, Samuel, I saw your hand still up.
Oh, that was from the previous one. I'll take it down.
Okay.
Yeah, it was for all good.
Yeah. So please, review this PR as early as possible, since we have many files needed to be addressed. Okay, especially maintainers for this spec repository.
Okay.
Thanks. Let me switch back to the meeting notes. Okay, next one is HashiCorp Vault KMS plugin. So this one is from Freeman, right? Freeman Patrick Binchi.
Yeah, this is the one that we shared this news last meeting, right? Can you open the related issue, HashiCorp Vault KMS plugin? I want to provide a little bit backgrounds around this issue and what's the next step and the current status for this issue. Yeah, as you can see from the issue, this is intended to add another KMS plugin for notation. Currently, notation has only one KMS plugin for storing keys. So that is Azure Key Vault plugin. We see that there are a lot of users who want to use their own KMS plugin like HashiCorp Vault in some LGAP environments. So we initialized this proposal and submitted to the CNCF LFX mentorship program. And fortunately we have one mentee, Binchi, joined this program and selected as the first mentee of the Notary project. And he started working on this proposal around 2 months ago, and Patrick is the mentor of this project. And thanks to Patrick, he mentored Binchi to start the design and the prototype for the plugin, the notation HashiCorp Vault plugin. And currently, we have a very initial prototype for this plugin, and we tested with the in the local environment with the OCR layout. It works. And yesterday evening, Binchi and Patrick prepared a document for the workflow and demonstrate how notation can work with the HashiCorp Vault plugin in a prototype. So as Binchi is not in this meeting, let me check. So I may need to ask agreement from Patrick. Are we good to showcase the document that Binchi prepared yesterday, as he's the major author for that document?
Yeah, the document is ready, and I think for a demo, maybe we should still ask Binchi to demo it. Since he's not here today, maybe next week we can make a demo on the project. But the document looks good to me.
Yeah, I also reviewed that document, and I think we can give some time for other notary maintainers to review this document and the prototype offline, and then we can start the demo next meeting and invite Binchi to our meeting. I'm sharing the Hack Markdown links in our chat box. So could you also open that link and give a quick overview to that prototype? Yeah, is this one? Actually, I'm testing the workflow for this notation HashiCorp Vault plugin in my local machine, and basically it has three steps. Can you go to the top of this document? We have an outline. Yeah, we only need 3 steps to complete the sign and verify with notation HashiCorp Vault plugin. So the first one would be set up the HashiCorp Vault server, and just install and configure the Vault development server. And next is very similar to the notation generate test. We need to use OpenSSL to generate a test key and cert, and import those key and cert files to HashiCorp Vault. And the last step is to add the generated key to notation. You can use notation key and cert add to add those key and cert to the notation. And the final step is to sign the artifact. And in this scenario, we use OCI layout as the local simulated repository, the registry, sorry, to sign and verify the artifacts stored in the OCI layout. So that is the feature that we introduced in RC4, and this is a prototype for the HashiCorp Vault KMS plugin. So I would like to ask other maintainers to review and give some comments on this doc. And I think the next step is to create a sub-project, a new repository on the Notary, and ask and create an issue to vote for that repository. Patrick, do you have any comments or context you want to share?
Yeah, the doc is authored by Binchi, so I will also review it again later today.
Yeah, and I just polished the doc a little bit, and you can also, I think every maintainer is also welcome to review or add your suggestions to this doc. Thank you, Patrick. You did a great job with mentoring Binchi for this program.
Well, thank you, Feynman.
Samuel, do you have any questions? I just saw your hands up again.
Yeah, I figured once I review it, I'll probably can ask a question better, but just quickly, right? So this is basically a key vault where you can store your signing keys, but you still, in this example, generating the signing keys. So, but my question is, can somebody use it for a USB key, which is stored locally on, the signing key stored locally on a USB? I'm just a quick question if you know the answer to that.
I think this is another scenario. So go ahead, Patrick.
Do you mean by saving the key on the USB drive?
Yeah, the key on the USB drive, because some customers may want to sign with their own signing key stored in a local HSM, such as a USB key.
Yeah, for now, the key should be processed by the HashiCorp Vault. So we need to double check on this one.
Okay, thanks.
Samir, I actually can answer that one. No, you can, the HashiCorp Vault is very similar to, let's say, AWS KMS or Azure Key Vault. You cannot use this one for actually sourcing the key from local USB drive or YubiKey or something like this.
Okay, that answers it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks, Toddy, for explanation. Samuel, if you do see there is such a requirement from our users, maybe you can issue or create an issue. I'm not sure whether we already have that, but if you have the issue created, we can evaluate this scenarios experience. Maybe we can design another plugin to use local key for sign.
Yeah, no, I think the requirement is, we heard the requirement is like signing from an air-gapped environment where they don't have access to a online signing service or a signing key storage. That was it. But that's fine. I think this is not a pressing requirement. We can discuss it later.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I want to mention that next week is public, I think next meeting, that day is public holiday here locally in China. So I think maintainers from here will not join the community meeting. We can think about the demo, plan the demo, the meeting after next week.
That's fine. I think it works for me. If we don't put the agenda up, then we won't have to join. But is it next week, the entire week, or just the Monday? We can still meet next.
Next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is public holidays for us.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, that's fine. I think if Toddy is available and we have something that Toddy, me can, or people in North America can sync up, then that sounds fair.
Yep, I'm available, so we can sync on Monday next week.
We have Thursday meeting for KubeCon sync. Tony.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't find time today to ping
No,
you
that's
about
fine.
that. But,
Yeah, that's fine.
I hope that they will publish the recordings maybe today, tomorrow. If you folks have chance, please take a look. There will be things that we need to discuss about that. So,
yeah.
What was the overall experience now that Samir asked?
Yeah, so the overall thing is, so we had a good participation in the notary talk. Kind of the demos went a little bit not as we expected, in the sense that actually something failed on the kind of setting up the demo, so we had to run them from the videos, and we couldn't run the local signing demo because we ran out of time. The other thing is, I had a discussion with Justin Cormack, so he insisted adding one slide about things that actually Docker would like to propose as a sub-project for Notary, which is how we can implement tough metadata as part of the registry. I do not have any details about that, so that is something that actually we need to get Docker involved. However, one of the things that I discussed with Cormac is just to have more participation from Docker members in our meetings. The problem is that actually this meeting time is very inconvenient for anybody from Docker who wants to participate. So we need to figure out a good time for them. They are UK based, and right now it's kind of the middle of the night for them. That's kind of very briefly summary of what we discussed with Justin Cormack and how the notary talk went. we had actually a lot of interest from folks around Notary, and we got much more coverage this KubeCon than previous KubeCons. And of course, we need to discuss kind of going forward as we actually discussed what is the roadmap, what are the features that will come in, how we can actually prioritize this work, and yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Todd. That was good. Yeah, that was positive. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, my appeal to the community is like, we do not want to have the same people providing Notary updates. So every one of you is invited. Actually, we have KubeCon Detroit coming. When is that? November, September? I don't know, but let's have more people actually presenting Notary there. So Vani, Samir, Pritesh, appeal is for you. I know that our colleagues from China, they will be in KubeCon China. They can actually present their the update for Notary. So it's good to hear more voices.
Okay.
Yeah, KubeCon China will be held in September. I remember it will be set up on September 25.
Wow, that's amazing. We should take some pictures and videos and we should share.
Yeah, I think it will be very expected. And if you guys can come to Shanghai, China, and you can do a joint presentation during KubeCon China, it might be a good opportunity for you to meet people in person. We have a lot of Notary maintainers in Shanghai.
That will be great. So I just need to ask my boss about the travel.
Okay, thanks. We have 4 minutes. I want to mention that we have an ongoing security vulnerability that was addressed in the private channel. So please take a look at that issue and discussions. And that one we need to complete by the 1.0 release. Toddy.
Yeah, by the way, because you mentioned security, one thing I forgot to mention is I talked with Adam and David in person at KubeCon. I wanted to share that actually they are very impressed by the kind of the security of the code that we wrote. So I wanted to share that with the whole community and say kudos to all of the engineers and how secure code they are writing. So that's all.
Yeah, great.
That's awesome to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, we have 3 minutes. Anything else?
We can give back 3 minutes.
Yeah, give back 3 minutes. I will check the blog PR and also quick start PR to see anything else we needed. Otherwise, I will probably merge those PRs and we can officially announce it.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank
Nice
you.
day. Nice evening.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.